Hey, it tells me I'm live. Live. What a word. You know what? You're live too. You are live right now. And you know where you're live? You're live in your life. And you know what? I'm live here. Oh, yeah. I'm live over here. Ah, we're going to cancel that. No, we're not canceling the live. So here's a question for you. What if you knew everything you spoke you could create? What if you knew that? I use this background. I ask AI to, I think the prompt I put in was a couple of guardian angels. And guardian angels, this was AI's Dolly 2, I think, version of a couple of guardian angels. So I used them today for the background. Just in terms of your power, what if you knew you had power like that? I mean, we live our lives in such shriveled up, in such a shriveled up way, like we're not really capable. And you know what? We don't take any risks. We think we need to be guaranteed an outcome. You know what? We think, oh, I, I can't do that because what if it doesn't work? Well, we've got a history full of examples of burning the boats, and whether the conquistadors were good or bad is a historical determination. But they were determined when the Spanish conquistadors landed, in Mexico, they burned the boats. Captain burned the boats because they weren't going back. So I'm not saying every time in everything about your life you need to burn the boats and have no backup options. But the truth is, there's no plan B for your A game. And here's what I notice. When I wait and wait and wait, my resources diminish, my commitment diminishes, my courage gets clouded, and I don't do what I could do. So I have quit doing that. When I have an idea now, I just go do it. All in, I don't worry about the consequences. I don't have a plan B. And that phrase, and I don't remember who popularized it, but you don't have a plan B for your A game. And so, what I've discovered in creating your ultimate life, which is all I'm about, not for me, but for you, is do you know what your A game is? One of the things that's really come home to me is I'm designing some new pieces of my life and my business. I'm designing some new stuff. I'm writing a new book, number 20, and it's called Masterpiece. And it has to do with how you create yourself every day and how you live all day long in a state of flow. Well, when you're in a state of flow, which is a state of ultimate creativity, you're not you're not holding back. You're not second guessing. A state of flow means you're just moving through space and time in the act of creation. And often people in flow, and I know this, time slows down. I had that experience this morning in the most unlikely of places. Now, part of my morning routine is an ice bath. Okay, I do my exercises and do stuff, and then I'll turn on the cold water in the tub and pour a bunch of ice in and take an ice bath. Now, getting used to doing that was an interesting challenge, but it took a lot less time and effort than I thought it was going to. It was easier by the third or fourth day, which is now some time ago. It was less of a trauma. I thought it was going to be, oh no, it's hard. Oh no. And I was going to freak out about it, but it's not a big deal. But anyway, after I got in the ice bath, and the key to the ice bath is, guess what? Get fully present or get in flow. Come here into the present moment. Slow your breathing down. Focus. And so I focused on my fingers and the temperature on the fingers, each finger. And when you slow your breathing down, your body responds wonderfully. Those of you that have done work in Wim Hof in breathing, and he's the Iceman, done any of that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your body just responds. And you know what I notice? Interestingly enough, all day long after I do my ice bath, my fingers are warm. And that didn't used to happen. Okay. And that is so beautiful because I play the piano, obviously, keyboards, and do a lot of music. And that makes such a difference. My fingers are always warm. I just have the sensation that they're warm. And I can tell you why. When your body gets cold, like you jump in an ice bath, right? It feels mortally threatened, like it feels like an existential threat. And when you have an existential threat, it's fight, flight, or freeze. It reduces all the circulation to peripheral areas in the body and brings it all to the heart, brain, and major muscle groups. So you can do whatever you have to do to protect yourself. When your body realizes that it's not a mortal threat, the cold, then it's a vasodilator. Your vessels expand again, and your circulation improves. And so I've certainly noticed that in my fingers. They change, and the change lasts all day, all day. And because I do it every day, well, 6 days a week, I don't do it on Sunday. I take a cold shower on Sunday, but I don't do the ice bath thing. I feel it all day, and now I feel it all the time, and it lasts all day. Isn't that interesting? So here's the thought. I want to talk about creation today, your ability to create. Now, this AI, artificial intelligence explosion, has been creeping up on us for years, but in the last year, it has exploded. And we have, Chat GPT 3, 3.5, 4.0, and, there'll be 5 and 6 later. And we have the ability to create deep fakes and do dumb things with this power. And for fun, I generate all kinds of images. Now, you guys see when you look at my videos, I have an innumerable number of pictures that I use for backdrops. And they're all AI generated, and they're just fun. Man climbing a mountain, a person in the desert. I have a whole bunch of pictures of the phoenix rising, multicolored phoenix, and all that stuff because it gives power and interest to my own self as I do these. That's creation, and I'm using a new tool, fairly new, this ability of the computer to rapidly generate these images. What I want to share with you, is that has occurred to me more and more, and I'll share what happened this morning in my ice bath, about our ability to create moment to moment, moment to moment. Now, AI generated this image in, I don't know, 30 seconds or 20 seconds or something. And it generated 3 or 4 of them. The old Dolly used to generate 4 pictures. The new Chat GPT only generates 1 at a time. But I've got some really cool ones that has generated too. And I'll be using those as well. You here now have the ability to generate, to create like that. Maybe you don't know that. So that's the point of the question I ask. What if it's true that you have the ability to speak things into existence? What if that is absolutely true? What would you do with that? I've got a secret for you. It is true. And the world that you have right now, you have spoken into existence. Whether the language was in your heart, in your mind, or out loud, you have spoken it into existence. Now, I don't mean to say, because as soon as I say that, someone launches into an argument about bad things that have happened to them that they didn't wish for or ask for. And I used to do that too. When I would have this conversation or someone would give me the idea that we create our world, and then I would think about all the things that had happened to me that are, quote, bad, that were inflicted upon me by circumstances and other people. And I used to think, I didn't ask for that. No. And then some people used to argue, well, your energy wanted that or some nonsense. You and I don't control the laws of the universe. The law of gravity, the law of the architect, the law of the caterpillar. We don't control those laws. And there are a lot more laws than things like we think about laws of physics and laws of, gravity. There's laws of creation. Okay. There are many laws. And they work just like the law of gravity. If you disobey them, they hurt you. Or you bang up against them. And if you follow them, you get the benefits, just like gravity and other laws of physics and laws of nutrition and all the rest. If you want to create your life just like you want it, then start with your language, your internal and external language. When I lived a life of hating myself and speaking negatively about me and doubting my ability, and I remember doing that viscerally, violently, and in spades, I lived that life. Things were a struggle and worse. Now that I have spent years changing habits and creating a new me, I speak power. I speak prosperity. I speak love into existence. I'm not magic. You have that ability too. And it was such a beautiful and glorious discovery for me. That's driven my whole reason to be alive. You know, you've heard before, my commitment is to help 250 million people this year hear that message. What is the message? You are a divine being. You are a creator. You can have anything you want, and you can call anything you want into existence. You can change the world. You can create prosperity. You can declare and live into a purpose and have a joyful life every day. That's the message I'm giving to 250 million people. The encouragement that comes from that message is, so start using it. Create from your infinite possibility instead of from limitation and lack. I don't know about you, but I used to live forever in this limitation mode, that somehow I was limited because of stuff that had happened to me, and that's nonsense. I have broken those limitations, and you can too. So whatever your limitations are, you can make a choice right now to end them if you want, or you can continue to argue for your limitations. That's possible too. Feel free to live whichever life you want, limitation and lack, or purpose, prosperity, and joy. My commitment is to help 250 million people understand that choice and then make it in a positive and powerful direction to create your own life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, or whatever the words of meaning are for you. Those are the ones I use. Now, I just saw a thing this morning about a new event that's being added to the Olympics this year. And I was really surprised. I didn't know they added them regularly. But what I read is host cities get to add events. I don't know if that's every time, every city. But anyway, in Tokyo, they added surfing. I didn't know that. This year in Paris, you know what they're adding? Break dancing. And they call them break girls and break boys, B girls, B boys. And that's a new event. Now, I have seen fantastic videos of people doing incredible things that I imagine would crush my spine and break my face, and have marveled at those things, but I've never paid like a lot of attention to be dug into that. But I am now, and you know why? I just read an article this morning about how that's going to shake down. Do you know how it is? The break dancers don't know the music ahead of time. They don't get to pick the music. Now, does that blow your mind or what? They're going to have to dance to something they don't know ahead of time. Now, that just blew my mind. The second thing that blew my mind is that because of that, the moves, the dances are not choreographed. So that means their ability to prepare ahead of time is paramount, so that when they see and hear and feel the vibe, they can jump in and do the thing, right? Well, that's exactly like life. That's why I have a 2.5 hour morning ritual every single day of my life. Why would I do that? I'll tell you why. Because I choose to prepare myself spiritually, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And that ice bath is just a little piece of it. But I prepare myself every day with every single thing I know how to prepare. Why? So that whatever music plays today, whatever life brings, whatever circumstances, show up, I'm ready to play all in that context of purpose, prosperity, and joy. I'm not magic. This is all stuff I've learned to do, and I love it. It makes every day beautiful and powerful. And I feel like I'm defended by guardian angels all the time. Isn't that interesting? Because that's so different than how I used to experience life, so different than the life I had created years ago. I now live a charmed life, purpose, prosperity, and joy I love every day. And that kind of preparation makes me ready. Now, forget me. I'm sharing that with you only because I want you to know it's possible to go from broken and not knowing any of this to having mastered it. Well, if I can do it, you can do it. There's nothing magic about me, and I don't have any tools or power you don't have. So my commitment after having discovered this trail and these powers is to make sure everyone knows them and then chooses to create your own version of purpose, prosperity, and joy so you can love your life and have everything you want to have and be all you want to be. That's my encouragement. That's my knowledge. That's my certainty. And the only thing I do day in and day out is work on my 250 million every day, all day long. If I can help you, that's all I'm doing. Reach out and let's talk. We'll see you tomorrow.